Good evening. Welcome to the Pitt County Board of Commissioners meeting. We're happy to have you with us this evening. I'm going to call our meeting to order. Please, let's have roll call. Okay, if you would stand with me, and Commissioner Ward is going to do our invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask for your guidance and your love tonight when we are making these decisions, and make our minds clear and bright so that we can do the things that are best for this county. Thank you for your blessings. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing. I'm going to invite Braxton Key up to the podium. Introduce yourself and lead us in the pledge.
Good evening. My name is Braxton Key. I'm a junior at J. Rose High School, and currently I'm a vice president for FBLA. Thank you for having me. At this time, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you, Braxton. Okay, I entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Motion and a second, please vote. Madam Manager, do we have any public addresses?
We have two people signed up. First name is Minerva Freeman.
Thank you.
If the attorney will read the statement.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Pitt County welcomes all comments on matters of public concern. Each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. A total of 30 minutes is set aside for public addresses to the board. Please state your name and address prior to speaking.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Minerva Freeman. I live in Falkland, North Carolina. Was that enough? Thank you. First, I would like to thank the commissioners for what you're doing. Many of you I know through my various work in the community, and that's the reason I'm here tonight. It is concerning our sheriff, Paula Dance. I have worked with her for a long time. She's done an exceptional job. And I want to say that. She's done an exceptional job. And I feel that she's deserving of recognition. And many times in this country, how we recognize people is through salary. So I wanted to express that. Now, I have known her and her work in the community. She is available to people. She is out doing her job. I serve on the Family Violence Prevention Board, and she and her deputies and different people in her office, they are there. They support that program. I had a program down at Falkland Elementary School this year. She came and she spoke with the young lady. We're talking about prevention. That, to me, is very, very important. I know in her job, she brought a lot of innovative programs to the county. She works with Pitt Community. She works with ECU. She knows how to collaborate. All of those things make for a good leader. And I just wanted to take time out tonight to come to say that I was very disappointed with you all for not honoring her with that increase. And think about it. And I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next person signed up is Linda Robinson.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Linda Tatum Robinson. I'm physically standing here, but I am backed by several members of the community, voters and citizens that have come to support Sheriff Dance as well. we do not agree that she did not get her raise. We felt like it was something she shouldn't have had to ask for. It should have been given because of the outstanding job that she's done. The June 4th meeting, Chairman, you asked us to consider some things, and you shared the 37% that she received, 33.75% that she received in 2019. Well, 2019 was before she had the opportunity to let her badge shine. She has since then done outstanding things in this community. 2019 was before the global pandemic. Since then, everything has gone up astronomically. Since then, Greenville has grown. I've lived in Greenville for 10 years. In that 10 years, cornfields have become subdivisions. Hundreds of subdivision houses are within the subdivisions. And that's out on 33. That's not in the city limits, that's in the county. The sheriff is required, her and her deputies are required to serve and protect those citizens. Also, housing developments over in Simpson. Not only that, we had on April 26th, the announcement of a Vietnamese company that's going to be moving to Greenville, investing much money and 908 jobs. Sheriff Dance and her team are going to be required to serve and protect them as well. And to have to ask for something after she's already proven herself does not seem right to us. I would like to say, she's improved the transparency with the body cams, with the deputies. She has the SHARP program that's within the detention center, as well as the WARE program. I only have 3 minutes and I can't be long-winded, so I just highlight a few of the things that she's already done. The GED program with Pitt Community College. She's working on prevention. She has mental health staff that's coming from ECU to help with the mental health inmates that really are incarcerated because of their addictions and their issues, but she broke the status quo. She's allowed her brass to blare it shines so brightly, it's blaring the status quo. She's thought outside of the box, and she's helped the citizens of this community. We're hoping that not only will you grant her the 12%, which was only $20,400, we're asking for 25%, which is $42,500. I understand. We're hoping that you will be able to make a decision tonight. If not, we do have a petition in circulation. We've already collected hundreds of signatures, and we will be picking them up on June 24th, and at that time, we will be presenting them to the Board of Commissioners on June 28th if a decision has not been made. And we're hoping one will be made before the July 22nd meeting, which is your next meeting. But thank you for the opportunity to share with you, and that we let you know we do stand behind her receiving what she should have not had to ask for.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
That's all that we have.
Okay. We'll move on to presentations, Madam Manager.
Yes, if we can go down front, and if Nicole Barnes will join us. And anybody she's brought with her is welcome to come as well.
You calling someone up, weren't you?
Okay, it is my pleasure each month to recognize our employee of the month, one employee who stands out above all the rest, who shines above the others for going the extra mile. And this month it is Nicole Chapman Barnes. Her nominator said that she is a go-getter. She's willing to help out any of her coworkers at any time. If you ask Nicole to sing and dance, she will be the first to volunteer. She's a dedicated employee who puts her work ethic to a very, very high standard. Everybody knows her saying, which is smile, laugh, repeat. And she lives that in her work. I could go on for paragraphs about her volunteer service when we did COVID screenings for vaccinations, and on and on. Nicole has served Pitt County for 8 years. It'll be 9 years in August of this year. And we thank her for her dedication and her excellence in serving Pitt County government. So with that, it's my pleasure to present to you a certificate that reads, Certificate of Recognition, Employee of the Month, June 2024, presented to Nicole Barnes, Public Health, in recognition of your dedication and exemplary service to Pitt County government and the citizens that we serve, along with a $100 check, and I'll have the chairman present that to you.
Nicole, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, congratulations. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication.
Excellent. Thank you. And if you'll introduce her with you.
Okay, this is my husband, Sean Thorne.
Thank you so much for joining us, and then we'll get a picture. Thank you so much.
Her check fell out of
You
there.
got it. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game.
Okay, we have a couple of public hearings. The first one is on Trip Mining, and Jonas, take it away.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I come to you tonight for a rezoning request. That request is by Trips Mining LLC. It is to rezone 41.8 acres of property, which is in ownership of Pleasant Plain LLC. It's located on the northern side of Alvin Road, east of its intersection with Avon Road. And the request is to rezone it from rural agricultural to rural agricultural district or conditional district for the purposes of operating a sand mine. You'll see on the map the location. It's pretty much in the middle of in between Simpson and Grimesland off of Alvin Road. Zooming in a little bit closer to the site, you'll see the existing land use is primarily agricultural or undeveloped with a few residential areas mixed in, as well as an existing sand mine to the east of the site. The future land use character map has this designated as open space conservation. That designation applies to lands deemed inappropriate for development types due to physical characteristics or environmental barriers, including flood risk. It includes properties within the 100-year floodplain. It's set aside for parks and open space. The land use policy encourages quality development and reduce impacts on existing uses. It's considers supplemental requirements for additional types of uses, for example, the sand mines. The zoning is, it's zoned rural agricultural currently. That rural agricultural designation is to accommodate low density residential uses as well as associated public and institutional uses, low intensity commercial uses and agricultural uses as well. The conditional zoning district allows for the approval of a proposal of a specific use. In this case, tonight, they're asking for the sand mine. You can place reasonable conditions to assure compatibility with the proposed use and enjoyment of the neighboring properties. So we'll look at the site plan that was submitted to our office. You'll see the property boundary. They're not seeking the rezoning for their entire parcel. They're only seeking a portion of that. So 21 acres of that 41 acres is being requested tonight. Zooming in a little bit closer to go over the site plan, you'll see the area that is to be rezoned. They have an excavation area meeting that 100-foot setback. They're proposing screening and berms. as well as a proposed driveway and haul road, of which 200 feet will be paved from the road right away. There are 3 riparian buffers located on the site, which will need to be addressed. And the Pitt County planning staff finds that this request is consistent with the envisioned Pitt County 2045 land use plan. The area requested for the rezoning is designated as open space conservation on the future land use map, and the uses in the area are predominantly agricultural with limited residential uses. Planning staff also finds that this request is reasonable and in the public's best interest because there is very limited residential development directly adjacent to the proposed mine. Also, additionally, there is a proposed mine, or the proposed mine will be screened and buffered from any nearby residences. The planning board reviewed this request on May 15th and voted unanimously to recommend approval. So our recommended motion is to adopt the consistency statement, and also the second part is to approve the Trips Mining LLC to rezone the 41.8 acres of property located on Alvin Road. The additional conditions that we have placed on this is that no zoning compliance permit shall be issued until a site plan is prepared and submitted to our office for approval. Screening shall be provided in accordance with the requirements of Section 10. However, if a berm is determined to be adequate, then it must be 6 feet. They must obtain a floodplain development permit from the Pitt County Planning Department prior to development. An operating permit is required under the North Carolina Environmental Quality section. And a 100-foot riparian buffer is required on each side of those riparian buffers unless they get proper documentation showing that those are exempt. They must provide a 15-foot electrical easement adjacent to the right-of-way for the length of the property, and they must obtain a commercial driveway permit from NCDOT. That commercial driveway permit only has to be 50 feet. Again, I wanted to emphasize that they are planning on paving 200 feet in. We'll get back to that in a minute. They have also agreed to modify the original permits for for the adjacent sand mine, which consisted of 2 different permits, one of which was a conditional use permit in 2019. The other was a special use permit in 2021. What they're proposing to do is route the entrance for that mine and use this common entrance for the new mine. On May the 9th, planning staff received a petition with 42 signatures, 30 households from the adjacent property owners in opposition to this rezoning request. The reasons stated on that petition was the road conditions along Alvin Road, the dust associated with the existing mine, and truck traffic. Also, the hours of operation and the noise, as well as some property damage that was reported. That following Saturday, planning staff met with the applicant as well as property owners on the site to discuss the rezoning requests. And after discussion and assurances given by the applicant, staff believes that those in attendance were no longer opposed to the request, and the overall general consensus is everyone in that area is in agreement now. Since the initial site, pictures have been taken. I'll show those to you in a minute, and the applicant has actually paved and made repairs to Alvin Road, approximately 1,000 feet in that area. Additionally, the entrance, as I said, to the mine is being proposed to be relocated to lessen the burden and the impacts on the adjacent property owners. You can see here in the pictures the road work that has been done. It's been resurfaced along Alvin Road, and this is right in front of where the mine will be. This is the current entrance. You can see they made the repairs to the road there for the existing mine, And you can see the close proximity to the homes of this existing entrance. This is looking further around that curve, and then this is back at the intersection of Avon and Alvin Road. You can see where the trucks were making short left-hand turns. It was eroding the roadway. They made repairs in that, heading on north along Avon Road there. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll give it to you to open the public hearing.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing. I think we have one signed up. Bobby Tripp?
Mr. Chair, if I may read the
Yes,
floor.
please, sir.
With this public hearing now open, Pitt County welcomes all comments on the Tripp Mining rezoning request. Please state your name, address, and the name of any organization you may be representing. Each speaker is allowed up to 3 minutes to speak.
Yes, I'm Bobby Tripp, and I'm representing Tripp's Mining LLC. Good afternoon, everyone. As Jonas has pointed out, part of this mining permit that we're asking for, or conditional use permit or zoning change, is to help an adjacent neighbor. And in the petition that was signed in the beginning, I can see their minds were thinking, hey, if we got any more trucks coming out beside our house, we don't want it. So since then, since the meeting we met with them, everybody has been more than happy to meet with us, has talked to us and said they had no further problems with it as far as coming out where we're proposing the new entrance. We're not calling it one mine, but it somewhat will be once it's completed, because the existing mine that's there now operating has some time left on it. So we want to finish that out, and as Jonas pointed out, we want to bring it back through this area that we're proposing now. So we think that it's a better fit for the community, and we're more than welcome. More than happy to try to accommodate each and everybody around it by doing so.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions?
No,
I
I'd like to
don't-
make a comment.
Okay, well, let's start with Commissioner White, and we'll move along.
Well, my comment was just going to be, I appreciate Mr. Tripp's willingness to meet with the community and to compromise, and I was prepared to offer a motion, but I'll let Ms. Perkins-Williams make her comment, and then I'll offer my motion.
Okay. We still got the public hearing open, so let's see if anybody else wants to speak. Go ahead, Commissioner Perkins-Williams.
My comment is that I commend you for addressing the road, because when residents travel those kind of roads that we saw in our booklet, those were quite a bit of holes and a little bit more than potholes. And that helped residents with the repairs on their cars and things like that. So I just hope that someone hears this report and follow your lead on that.
Yes, and we do want to be
Thank
good
you so much
neighbors.
for consideration.
And we do want to point out that road was being used before we took over that existing mine. So it wasn't, not pointing that somebody else done it. We did our part of damage when we took it over too. But we do want to be good neighbors to everyone there.
Thank you, Mr. Tripp. Do we have anybody else that would like to speak? Hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Commissioner McGlaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You stated that you have 41, the staff stated that it was 41 acres of land that is ready to be zoned for the sand mine. So what, and you only have 21 acres. What, if anything, are you planning to do with the additional 20 acres or in the future?
So on the back side of this property, it all goes down to the river. It's non-developed land. It's land that can't be developed. On the front, if you look at the maps, we set back in there about 500 or 600 feet, and we're going to leave that open for future use of whatever kind. And hopefully maybe a couple houses later, because it's going to create a lake effect over time. So we're hoping maybe in the future down the road, somebody will come in and elect to take that front over and maybe build in front of it or whatever. But on the back side, that land is no use for us to mine or to be developed. So it'll be left set aside.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank
you, Mr. Tripp.
Thank you.
Having someone build on the land would deter trash and making a junkyard.
Do we have anyone else that would like to speak in favor or against? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. It's a pleasure to board.
Motion to approve both recommended motions from the planning department.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jonas. Thank you. We'll move on to the two economic development, public hearings. Kelly?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I'm before you tonight in reference to our recommendation for an economic development incentive package for Project Bluefin. This is an industrial, new industrial recruitment project in a key life sciences, key industry for Pitt County, life sciences, and with consideration for an approximately $400 million investment and 232 new jobs with an average salary at or above the county's current average wage. We ask, as we get to the final stages of negotiations on this project and the company is nearing a decision, we would respectfully ask that you approve our recommendation, which includes the conveyance of the county-owned parcel 85599, which includes 130 acres, having a current market value of $2.87 million, in consideration of $2.69 million in monetary payments, and the remaining consideration being tax revenues received by the county, by 2028. Additionally, we ask for an economic development grant in an amount equal to 70% of the net increase in ad valorem taxes paid by the company over a 7-year period for a 2-phased project, with a cap of $9 million over the grant period. And we respectfully ask for your consideration and approval
I have a
of this
question.
incentive package.
Okay, Commissioner, questions?
Ms. Andrews,
Yes, ma'am.
are these blue-collar jobs, green-collar jobs?
This is life sciences, so there will be all kinds of jobs. There will be administration, there will be engineers, there will be, but certainly the majority will be high-skilled blue-collar jobs.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner questions? Okay, we'll open up the public hearing. Anybody like to speak in favor of? Anybody in favor? Anybody like to speak against? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask that you add to the motion the authority for the chairman to execute any documents related to this transaction as well?
Okay,
Motion is modified.
okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Please vote. Okay, Kelly?
Thank you. And the second is in reference to your consideration of an economic development grant or incentive package for an existing industry called Project Jackpot. This is a growing existing industry that we hope will continue to grow in Pitt County. And as such, they are looking to expand by at least $8.5 million in real and personal property and create 200 new jobs at or above the county's current average wage. We asked for an economic development grant equivalent to 50% of the net increase in ad valorem taxes paid by the company for a 5-year period with a cap of $150,000.
Okay, any commissioner questions for Kelly? Okay, we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone like to speak in favor? And I think we do have one signed up.
Mark Downing?
If I may, Mr. Chair. briefly.
Yes, please.
With this public hearing now open, Pitt County welcomes all comments on the Economic Development Project Jackpot. Please state your name, address, the name of any organization that you may be representing. Each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening. My name is Mark Downing. I'm General Counsel of Grover Gaming. Thank you for the county's continued support. This project has expanded to include further investments and expansions that are not incentivized by the county. Therefore, we respectfully request that the county increase this incentive to 6 years and 60%. We have discussed this change with the county manager and the economic developer, and they both support this change. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak in favor or against? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
And this
Was
is
that-
the 6-year,
That's what I
Yes,
was asking.
yes, it is.
okay. So we have a motion to,
I second the motion with the 6 years added in,
okay,
6 years, 60%.
60%. Okay.
all right, we have a motion and a second, please vote,
I have a comment.
okay?
I'd like to say to Ms. Andrews, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to items for report, Madam Manager.
Yes, we have, your first one up is Dave Peterson with Trillium Health Resources.
Good evening, everybody. Dave Peterson, this is my 10th year in front of you all, and I'll just say, many of you have served on our board when it was Pitt County Mental Health, and now we're Trillium Health Resources. Thank you, Commissioner McCawthorn, for being on our board. So I'm gonna try to get through this quickly. We have served 43,571 individuals last fiscal year. You'll see the numbers on here. A lot of folks with a primary diagnosis of mental health, substance use, and intellectual and developmental disabilities. The budget last year that we spent was over $650 million. State has made some changes to us again, and this has been going on. I looked up my presentation to you all in 2018, and I told you right then it was coming. It's now here, okay? We are now what's going to be called in 2 weeks a tailored plan. Insurance now is not only going to cover their mental health, but also their physical health. So keep that in the back of your mind. We now have to contract every one of you as a primary care doctor. We are contracted with your primary care doctor. So we have to manage the physical health of every individual now. This, because we used to back in 2001 be 41 of us, they said we need to get you down to 4 back then, and none of us believed it. Well, we're down to 4 now. There's 4 managed care organizations in the entire state. We are one of the surviving entities because we do a really good job, not to brag, but they said how we function administratively, financially, and with services and supports, we're top notch. With that being said, the secretary said, you now have to take on 18 new counties within 45 days. Let me just tell you what that meant. 900 new employees came over to Trillium in 45 days. 1,200 new providers came over to Trillium in 45 days. Imagine the lift of the size of Pitt County and then 1.5 times that added to your employee books. It was a huge lift. We wanted to make sure employees got paid on February 1 when this happened. Now being 46 counties, our total population that we cover is 3.1 million. We have 51,000 people that are what's called on the tailored plan, needing mental health, developmental disabilities, and substance use services. We have 163,000 people that have services that are outside of the norm, but we have those services that we're covering. And then, picture this, 287,000 people that are completely uninsured that we have to cover, okay? Ask your legislators to put more money into this because that money goes dry really quickly. Here's our map. You all should be happy with this. Our corporate office still remains at 201 West First Street. That's our corporate office. But look at where we go out to. We cover now the 3rd largest county in the state, Guilford County. But our corporate office is 2 blocks down the road. Okay? Think about that. We now cover this many counties. We have these regions now. I cover the purple region, but I also oversee the other 4 regional VPs in this catchment area. Tailored plan means we're now serving the whole person. I talked just a little bit about that. But every doc that we have that does Medicaid, we have to have a contract with. And every one of your pharmacies in those 46 counties, we have to have a contract with them so that they get medication out to folks when needed. We have to have a pharmacy management system. So we're managing all those pharmacies. State decided back in 2021 to take the mild and moderate individuals away from us and move them to a private sector insurance company model. And you'll see those are the insurance companies on that slide, all right? So they now manage the low to moderate risk, and we continue to manage the very, very high-risk individuals. And we've been doing that for decades, so that's nothing new. But managing their high-risk behaviors and their physical health is new. I won't go into this one, but we are starting a lot of different programs because of the high-risk individuals. You all hear quite a bit from DSS, and we really want to try to make sure we're doing a better job not ever having a kid sleep in a DSS office or stay in an emergency department.
Repeat that.
We want to do a better job of not having any kids sleep in a DSS office or stay in the emergency department, okay? We stole an employee from Pitt County DSS, Sean Kenny, and they were not happy. Pitt County was not happy with us, but now they are because they talk the same language. Some of the projects that we're doing, we are still giving out Narcan kits. Just sent an email last week, and those got distributed over to Pitt County. We're doing a lot of reentry simulations. Our jail population, as everybody knows, is getting bigger and bigger, and a lot of those folks have mental health issues and substance abuse issues. So we're trying to work with the jail population. We do have a meeting with the sheriff, I think, well, don't quote me on that one, but we're trying to get in on that one. These are just some of the projects that we've been doing over the years. We have plenty of Oxford houses, and I do brag about Pitt County also. Pitt County has only the one and only Oxford house in the entire state that has women in recovery with their kids in the home. Most of the moms get sent off. We think it's important that the moms stay connected to their kids. So Pitt County has that. Don't have that anyplace else. Here's your specific Pitt County data. Last year, we served 5,275 individuals. 3,940 had a primary diagnosis of mental health. 1,420 substance use, and 1,143 had intellectual and developmental disabilities. Everybody asks, those numbers don't add up to 5,274 or 75 because folks have dually diagnosed. Okay, so be happy to answer any questions. My 10th year here, I'll continue coming back for another 20, 30, 40 years if I have.
I have one question.
Okay, Commissioner Perkins.
I'd like to know, do you keep your website up to date?
You see the smirk? We try to keep our website up to date. We've gotten a lot of feedback because of this consolidation and adding 18 new counties. There's a lot of missing pieces on there.
That's
and we're
why
trying
I
to
asked
do
the
that.
question.
We're trying to do that. I'm not tech savvy, but I will say some people do get lost in our website, and we're trying to improve that.
The second question is, in Pitt County, I know a lot of people who go to other counties for their medical. How does that impact them?
If their Medicaid is here, then well, now that you saw the map, if they go to another county, most likely they're Trillium County because we cover 46 of them in the state. Okay, but if they're going to another county that isn't one of ours and they have Pitt County Medicaid, it comes through us anyway. Yep. And just a side note, you all know the big hospital that's getting built. That's going to help out significantly in not only Pitt County but across the state. The 144-bed behavioral health hospital built right up the road. So.
Built where?
What's that?
Where is it being built?
End of McGregor Downs.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, 144 bed, I think, 2025 finished. So.
Any other questions? Commissioner Colson?
Not a question so much as a statement. Most businesses fail because they try to expand too fast.
Yep.
Now, while you're not a business per se, you're a real close cousin to it. And I wish you all the success in the world, but I'm concerned that just because you've done such a great job and then them coming and now adding 17, 18 new counties in one fell swoop,
Yeah. No,
might that make your services decline rather than stay the same or get better?
very good point. We didn't ask for the 18 counties, I'll say that, okay? This was a legislative decision.
That's because you did too good of a job.
Yeah, at the same time, the reason why I'm here tonight, and my counterparts are in front of other county commissioners, is because we want to keep it local. Okay?
Well,
And I agree with you.
You know, there is a saying that no good deed goes unpunished.
Yes,
Well, anyway, I
thank you for that
wish you
comment.
success.
Appreciate it.
Mr. McGlowan?
I must say, this to Commissioner Colson remarks, but the success of this combining effort with other resources of Trillium is due to mainly because of the leadership of Dave Peterson. I've known Dave for many years, and he has done a tremendous job, not only in Pitt County, but throughout the state. He's well recognized. So, Dave, I want to personally thank you for your leadership and your continued involvement with the caring for the people, the citizens of Pitt County. And you're doing a remarkable job, and thank you for that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, Madam Manager.
Next up is Abby Kimmel, and while she's coming forward, for those of you who've not yet met Abby, she is an AmeriCorps Lead for NC Fellow who has worked in the county manager's office for the last year and is shared with the city of Greenville. She's a UNC Chapel Hill graduate, and her time with the county ends in early July. So she has a short presentation for you this evening. She's focused it on sustainability issues, and she's going to share with you what she's done over the last year.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. My name is Abby Kimmel, and tonight I will be talking about some of the projects I've worked on in the area of sustainability. So a little background on me. I am a Lead for North Carolina Fellow. My program is run through UNC School of Government and AmeriCorps. I've been serving Pitt County as well as the city of Greenville since August, and my time, like Jana said, wraps up shortly. My work scope for the time of my fellowship has been to implement plans and programs in the area of sustainability and to learn more about the role and operations of local government. At the county, I have had a major project surrounding electric vehicles, and at the city, I've been working on recycling. I've also worked on some small projects, including developing Pitt County's sustainability Corner, which offers tips on sustainability, and that is blasted out in the Pitt County Connection to all Pitt County employees, as well as on the website. And there is enough content that I've created to last throughout the year. I've also facilitated Pitt County's first public art agreement and drafted Pitt County's first ever Earth Day proclamation. So moving along to my electric vehicles project. So there are many benefits associated with electric vehicles, the most prominent being zero tailpipe emissions. This means less pollutants entering the air, better air quality, and it reduces carbon dioxide from entering the atmosphere, which is the most common human-produced greenhouse gas. Another benefit is associated with cost. Electricity costs less than gas, so even with a higher upfront cost, electric vehicles can save thousands. County vehicles are highly visible in the community, and it's a way to enhance sustainability by leading by example. And many other county governments have done this, including Buncombe, Orange County, and Chatham County, to name a few. So my goal for this project was to develop a well-informed strategy for smoothly transitioning selected gas-powered vehicles to electric within Pitt County's fleet, ensuring efficiency and effectiveness. So delving more into my process for doing so was first starting with research and developing criterion, researching the differences between electric vehicles and gas-powered vehicles and what traits make a vehicle a good candidate to be an electric vehicle, things like driving distance, dwell time and location, how many people are driving it, and I'll get into that later. Then I created the criteria and organized meetings with department heads with all of the department heads within Pitt County government, and discussed if EVs would be a good fit, and got information to create cost projections. And then I was able to analyze the data and select candidates. So that top row is the criterion that I developed, which was route predictability, dwell location, ease of training, max travel distance, and then the need for high performance vehicles. And the vehicles I identified were engineering's inspections department, management information systems department, environmental health's inspectors, the public information office, and then tax assessors within tax administration. And then this shows cost projections for comparing electric vehicles to gas-powered vehicles to hybrid vehicles over 10 years. At the 4-year mark is around when it becomes more financially beneficial to own an electric vehicle over a gas vehicle. And then at year 6, it's more beneficial to own the electric vehicle over a hybrid vehicle. And then by year 10, there's around $5,000 in savings for the electric vehicle over the gas-powered vehicle. And there are lots of funding opportunities out there, especially for electric vehicle infrastructure, and those are just a few that are open or will be open soon. Moving along to recycling. This was a project I worked on for the city, but it certainly affects the county, specifically recycling contamination, which recycling contamination is when something that is not recyclable enters the recycling stream. Things like plastic bags or styrofoam cups, you could be contaminating and you don't know it. First, this is bad for the environment because too much contamination means the entire batch of recycling has to go to the landfill, including the items that are actually recyclable. And secondly, it is bad because Pitt County's recycling vendor charges fines for contamination. So to approach this problem, I did research on what other municipalities have done and organized meetings with them to see how their strategies might work in our community. Strategies I researched included OOPS tags, which essentially would be an employee going ahead of the recycling routes, looking into the recycling bins and seeing if there's contamination, and then marking if there's contamination or not. Oops, there's a lot of styrofoam in this recycling, we won't be able to pick that up today. Another solution could be adding stickers to all of the recycling containers with information on what is and what is not recyclable to remind people as they're putting their items in the recycling. And if you look at that top picture, it's what Greenville will be doing. Greenville is installing cameras inside of collection trucks to identify contamination and send personalized contamination notices to the residents in which it came from. And Greenville's going to be paying for this with a grant from North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. It was the Community Waste Reduction and Recycling Grant, which was a grant that I helped work on. Pitt County also applied to this grant, and both entities were awarded $50,000, so $100,000 for recycling education in this community. And thank you for your time. If you guys have any questions.
Any questions for Abby? Abby, thank you for presenting, and thank you for the work you've done for us over the last year.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Manager, what do we have next?
Your May 2024 tax collection report by Russell Hill.
Good evening, Chairman Smith, Commissioners, Manager Gallagher. Tonight I present to you the May 2024 tax collection report. The current fiscal year combined collection rate through May 31st, 2024 for real and personal property was 99.35%. The combined rate 1 year ago for real and personal property was 99.27%. Pitt County Tax Administration continues to pursue all outstanding taxes using the necessary remedies available through the North Carolina General Statutes. If there are no questions, it's my recommendation to approve the May 2024 tax collection report as presented.
Motion approved. Second.
Thank you, Russell. We have a
Thank you.
motion and a second. Please vote.
Next up is Sam Croom for monthly financial report.
Good evening, Chairman Smith, Commissioners, Madam Manager. Tonight I bring you the May 2024 financial report for the General Fund, Solid Waste Fund, and the EMS Fund. We're 11 months into the fiscal year at this point, or 91.7%. For the General Fund, we have collected 84.5% of anticipated revenues and spent 81.5% of budgeted expenditures. Solid Waste, we have collected 96.2% and spent 76.7%. EMS, we have collected 97.5% and spent 89%. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, it's my recommendation for a motion to approve the monthly financial report as presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second, please vote.
I have a question. if you
Okay,
don't mind.
Commissioner Colson?
On 84.5% for the general fund, is that gonna be okay by the end of the year?
Yes, sir. For public health and DSS, they have spent everything through May 31st, but a lot of times they were 2 months behind in their revenues. The same way with sales tax. Sales tax is coming in, what we just collected for May was actually for March. And so we still have April, May, and June to go for them.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Okay, Madam Manager?
Yep, I have 6 items for you this evening. It's one additional than is printed on your agenda. First are your next meeting dates. July 22nd is your only meeting in the month of July at 6 p.m. in this room. And then August 5th and 19th are your 2 meetings in August. Next, just a reminder of county office holiday closures. We are closed this Wednesday, June 19th, in celebration of the Juneteenth holiday. And before your next meeting, we'll be closed again on July 4th for Independence Day. Next, from July 11th to 15th, for those who are registered to attend, is the NACO Annual Conference in Hillsborough County, Florida. Next, we have a report of settlement. As required by law, all settlements by the county must be reported out. So this is to report out a workers' compensation settlement with Mary Swain, former detention officer, in the amount of $50,000. Next the next 2 items, one on your agenda and one not, are both good news items. The first is that the Sheriff's Administration building is near completion.
Yay.
So be on the lookout for an invitation for an official ribbon cutting to take place prior to your next meeting in July or around that time. Tim Quarterly is currently working with the Sheriff's Office, the architect, the builder, and others to secure the date for that, but we will make you aware of that. We have had a very smooth construction process. Feel confident we are on or ahead of schedule, and our dollars are working out just fine. So that is a huge accomplishment for Pitt County, and pleased to see that come to be. We expect to see the sheriff begin to move in July. Finally is the best news of the day, and that is that the North Carolina Department of Infrastructure Technology released today the awards decisions for the first group of counties in the Continuing Access to Broadband grant, the CAB grant that you've heard us talking about. So after the Grade 1 and Grade 2, those were the first 2 grants for broadband in the county, Pitt County, according to our FCC maps, still had 3,300 unserved homes in total. After a competitive RFP process and much collaboration between the state and the county, the state has announced today an award to Brightspeed to provide high-speed fiber internet to 3,130 of those 3,300 households in Pitt County. And that will all be installed and working by October 2026. Total project cost is just over $10 million. The county's going to contribute the 1/3, which you've already allocated in your American Rescue Plan funds and has already been set aside in the budget. That leaves only 170 homes in all of Pitt County unserved post-completion of Great Grant 1, Great Grant 2, and CAB grant. And we'll continue to work through future funding opportunities to get those final few homes served through programs like Stopgap and others, which we know will cover those one-offs here and there to ultimately accomplish our goal of having complete coverage in North Carolina. So kudos to Mike Taylor, your IT director and deputy county manager, for his diligence in getting us to this point.
Great news. Thank you, Madam Manager. We'll move on to items for consent. I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Got a motion and a second. Please vote.
I can hardly wait.
And then we'll move on to items for decision. Number one is Jonas, City of Greenville CDBG funds.
Good
Sorry.
evening again. So earlier this year, the City of Greenville contacted us and acknowledged our work in dealing with the homeless population here in the county and wanted to partner with us on some of those programs. They have funds available through the CDBG grant, which they're a recipient of from HUD, and wanted to come along beside us and partner with us to address additional shortfalls with the homeless population. So we collaborated with the city and identified our short-term hotel assistance program that we have in place currently as a possible partnership. So this grant is for the amount of $21,575. It will be used for that short-term hotel assistant, which will provide individuals who are experiencing homelessness and in need of emergency sheltering that short-term stay as they transition into permanent housing. So with that, I recommend that we accept these grant funds from the City of Greenville for our homeless hotel stay.
Move to approve.
Got a motion and a second. Please vote. Thank you, Jonas.
Thank you.
Next up is the transition of spay and
I
neuter
second.
services.
I was trying to get who was who.
Chad, come on up.
Good evening, everyone. Glad to be with you this evening to talk about spay today. Some of you might have seen recently on the news as there was a campaign by a nonprofit that's located about 150 feet behind the animal shelter in which the county's been in a lease for the property so that they could operate. And they provided a wonderful service, about 78,000 spay and neuters that they performed there at their clinic, and it was more of a regional thing that serviced our community and other communities as well. Although they provided a great service, they've had difficulty over the years trying to secure a veterinarian to perform a very specialized service, that being the number of surgeries that they're doing in any given day. And you might remember 2 years ago, they were just days away from closing their doors, but we were able to, the county, being with the assistance of the county manager, was able to step in and partner with them to offer a little more money out of the budget so that they could help secure a veterinarian, and they did so. And so that veterinarian entered into a 2-year contractual agreement, and that contract has now come up. We learned about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I guess, that their intent was, or the veterinarian that was there at present's intent was to change jobs and go to another organization, and so there would not be a veterinarian. And so they began a campaign, a relatively large campaign across North Carolina to try and secure a veterinarian within a very short period of time, and was unable to do so. And so as a result, we began in conversation to figure out what the best possible scenario for Pitt County Animal Services as well as the community would be, and what that would look like in the event that they close. And that being that since roughly 2016, we've been in a contractual agreement for them to be our primary surgical center for the shelter pets that are adopted there at the shelter. And since the county commissioners had, as part of their comprehensive plan, require every animal that leaves the shelter to be spay and neutered to help control the population, which, by the way, is the best method to help control the population, so we're on the right track. We contracted with Spay Today to provide that service at a low cost to the county. With the closure of, voluntary closure of Spay Today, that low-cost service is no longer available, or will no longer be available to us. And we've sat at the table and really just tried to figure out what the best scenario might look like for the county and have the most significant cost savings. And so that kind of leads us to where we're at today. They officially, publicly decided as a board to close the clinic effective May 31st to the public, and is no longer providing that services due to being unable to secure a veterinarian to provide services full-time for them. They looked at several different scenarios, contracting with multiple veterinarians, doing less days a week, maybe less surgeries, but unfortunately, as a group, they just came to the conclusion that the battle wasn't won in the way that they wanted to. The benefit to them, or to that really, is that one, they plan to remain open and support the animal shelter and other rescue organizations as a nonprofit in any way possible through low-income vouchers, to still assist other, I guess from a monetary perspective, through their fundraisers to provide these services so that they don't go away. And that they can continue to remain, in the county and continue to provide services to low-income families and such. But that puts the shelter kind of in a compromising situation, in that we have to, at that point, look and see what our intentions are. And so we consulted with other veterinarians. We looked at past RFPs that we had put out to see what that cost would look like, and I met with the county manager, and rather alarming in terms of the cost of what it would cost us to the roughly 1,000 animals that we send out per year, and another 300 or so that we do. And as part of a trap, neuter, release program in the community, it would be about $500,000 for us to do that. Certainly that wasn't an option that we wanted to look at. So we continued our conversations with Spay Today about how, we could continue to partner with them in such a way. And the conclusion of that was that they had decided as a board that they felt the best option would be to donate the assets of the facility as well as the clinic over to the county, with hopes that the county could continue to provide a service to the shelter pets that are there, and that we can continue our partnership with Spay Today as a nonprofit to try and figure out how to help the other individuals in the community that are outside, that are not owned, or that are own pets out in the community, such as the low-income areas and such as that. And so lots of conversations taking place. Still got a long ways to go, but we believe that we can put our heads together to come up with the best possible scenario. That being said, we believe that the best possible scenario for the county at this point would be to assume ownership of the clinic and its assets and bring that service in-house. As you're already aware, we have for a number of years been in a contractual agreement with our own veterinarian, as required by statute, to provide consultation, training, and services to the shelter pets that are there. That veterinarian that we've been in contract with before has agreed to continue that contract and provide surgical services to us as well as part of the contract for no additional charge. Looking at that in the total budget and working with Spay Today, we believe that would eventually be a cost savings to the county, roughly around $10,000 this year or so, since we can do everything at no cost. We're not contracting to pay someone to do it, we're bringing it in costs. And with minor repairs of the facility and some things that would be needed for inspection, that ultimately this would be the best decision. One of the things that the shelter would need would be to add to the head count, and we looked at possible ways. The manager I met trying to not do that if there was such a way to not do that, but talking with the veterinarian, she's confident that she has to have a veterinarian assistant to assist her in surgeries to be able to continue to provide that service as she would if she was in any other clinic or local provider. Given that we already budget funds to pay for those services, we would basically be reappropriating the funds that are within our existing budget that's already being approved by you all, and just moving it into different line items to kind of absorb that cost, if you will. And so we believe even with the addition of the veterinarian assistant at a pay grade 61 with salary and benefits, that it would still be a cost savings to the county, and that this would be the best option for us, I think, at this point to try and do that. And so it would be my recommendation that the board, if they so will, would respectfully move into a contract with the veterinarian, at least for a year, to provide that surgical services, that consultation and that training for the $50,400, or roughly $4,200 a month, which is $10,000 really less than what we're actually currently spending with the veterinarian. So it's at a reduced cost of approximately $10,000 as well, or a little less. And also take on or absorb, increase the headcount of the veterinarian assistant to be able to assist in the surgeries so that we can continue to release all animals that are adopted out of the shelter and be in compliance with your ordinance to help control the population by providing the spay and neuter services.
And accept the donation.
And accept the donation, sorry.
Any Commissioner questions? Commissioner Nunley?
Thank you, Chad, for your presentation. I'm prepared to make a motion that we accept the donation and that provide the authority to enter in whoever the authority is needed to enter into contract with Dr. Crystal Regione for spay, neuter, and other vet services as set forth in your presentation, and also to increase the head count for animal services to provide for the vet assistant at grade 61 for salary and benefits.
I second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Please vote. Thank you, Chad, appreciate that.
Thank you all. Thank you for your continued support.
And we'll move next to Florida Hardy for the personnel ordinance updates.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Manager, and board members. I think you should have in front of you a set of the edits that I'm going to be discussing and sharing with you. Look for the sections with red for your ease of reading.
They're placed at your seats this evening, not in your packet.
And I'll just walk through them pretty quickly. In section 9, you'll see the section in red, we're asking to edit, this is more of an edit, we're removing development commission since economic development is now a Department of County Government. So we just that's an edit, that's something we should have just needed to pull out. Section 48, longevity pay, this was introduced by the manager during the budget process and approved during the budget process to add the section 5 to 9 years for employees who have 5 years of service will begin getting longevity pay at 0.75% of their base salary. And this was approved on the budget, so we went back and added it inside the county personnel ordinance. Under types of appointments, section 68, and we're hoping that adding a longevity pay will help us with our retention efforts so that we can keep people at least here 5 years. Under our appointments section, item number we had to go in and change for our public health and DSS employees. They're part of the State Personnel Act, and they have to serve a 12-year career status appointment before they become permanent employees. So they have no appeal rights until then. It was reading 24 months, and the state changed it to 12 months, so now it's 12 months. So we had to correct that throughout the personnel ordinance. Under section 73, driving record verification, we wanted to update that language. We worked with the risk manager on that so we could focus more on safety. As you can see, the language before talked about we didn't want to mistakenly hire a problem driver. We thought we could do that language a little better, make it sound a little better, and we're focusing more on the safety of driving, and we do check driving records of employees who are required to drive our county vehicles. We also are able to tap into the DMV system, Department of Motor Vehicles. They do allow us to go in, and so if somebody does have a driving infraction, we do get notified. So we can notify the department heads that there may be a problem with that person driving county vehicles or their own personal vehicles to conduct county business. So we just want to update that section to make it more focused on safety. Under our leave time, under section 110, which should be the next one you had, we went in to add some language just to make it a little clearer. Currently, if an employee, a new hire comes in from another government agency, they are able to transfer in time from that government agency, whether it's federal, state, or another local government agency. Pitt County will accept that time, up to 240 hours of personal leave time. What we did add in is if that former employer will transfer it. We have found that some employers do not wish to transfer it. They have a policy that says they will not transfer it. So we just want to make it clear to the people coming in, we will take it if that employer will transfer it. And if they choose not to transfer it, then we can't accept it. And we did the same thing under the next section, under sick leave, because it's the same process. Under section 110, the Family and Medical Leave Act, that's the next thing we went in to clear that up a little bit and to change it just a little bit. Currently, we have it reading, if a married couple works for the county, then they have to share 12 weeks for the birth of a child, which means between the two of them, they could take off 12 weeks. through a 12-month period. So we're asking to change that, to strike the 12 weeks shared, and they could each take 12 weeks. And the law does allow for that. So, the next section, and actually we're kind of at the end, I went in the definition section to define former employer because we did have some questions about that too. What is a former employer? And we define that as the employer where the person actually resigns from that position to accept work with Pitt County. And those are the times when we will accept a transfer of leave. If they leave that county or government agency to accept a job with Pitt County, then we'll accept the time that that county has to send, that county will transfer. Any questions on any of these changes? If not,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes, Florida, a
Yes, sir.
very good report. In comparison to other counties of our size, how are we doing in reference to these changes that you just alluded to?
This person, they're probably pretty standard across other counties. The transfer of leave, and we mimic a lot of the state policies too, where they used to have where they had longevity policies, the appointment policies, and the transfer of leave policy. They're fairly standard for other counties.
So we'll rank pretty high in that regard?
Yeah, I think we do just a little bit better, but yeah.
Okay.
But we're in sync with other government agencies.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Any other questions for Florida? Okay, it's a pleasure to board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval, please vote. Thank you, Florida, appreciate your
you.
work on that. Next up is the acceptance of the deed for PGV and the rezoning request. Matt, I think that's you.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners. You'll see that in your agenda, there's two action items for Pitt Greenville Airport. The first concerns special warranty deed. There was some property that was deeded to the Airport Authority. That needs to be deeded to the city and the county jointly. That's how the enabling statute allows for it. And so there's a special warranty deed that's been presented. So the first one would be a motion to accept that. The city has already gone through that action item. They did that in May and accepted that. The second one would be a grant. The Airport Authority is asking to rezone some property. As the owner, both us jointly with the city, we would need to authorize them to apply for that rezoning request. The city accomplished that on Thursday, June 13th. That passed, I believe, 5-1 to allow for that rezoning request. So there's two motions in your agenda. Ask for both of those to be adopted. I am here if there's any questions.
Okay, any questions? Commissioner Nunley?
Just motion to approve both.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, please vote. Okay, thank you, Matt. I think you've got the next one as well.
Yes, the second item is, there's been an offer to purchase, I can get to my agenda item, an offer to purchase two properties, both in the Farmville limits, both by an individual named Ricky Gorham. He has offered to purchase both of the properties for the same price of $3,500. Due to this, the disposal of property would be through upset bids. And so with this bid being offered, we would propose to accept it. You can propose to make a counteroffer, or you can propose to reject it at this point. If we do accept this offer, we will need to publish an advertisement for this for 10 days for someone to place an upset bid. If no one does place an upset bid, then we will come back for your approval to accept both of these properties. Both of these properties were gained in tax foreclosures, and I believe that the offer price will cover what the county paid for each of these properties in the upset bid process, or in the tax foreclosure process.
Okay, thank you, Matt. It's a pleasure to board.
I move to accept.
Second.
A motion and a second, please vote.
We don't see the vote.
Do we need a hand vote, or is that coming?
No, it went through.
It did, okay. Good. We didn't see it on the screen. Okay, thank you, Matt. We'll move on to PJ, appointments to the Farmers Market Advisory Committee.
Yes, and I can handle this one.
Okay.
It's recommended that you nominate to the Farmers Market Advisory Committee Carter Tate Holbrook Terry Snowden, Adriana Anderson, and Malcolm Heath to the Farmers Market Advisory Committee to a term beginning July 1, 2024, and expiring June 30th, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Please vote. And Madam Manager, you have the last one.
Yes, and that is recommended that you nominate Virginia Hardy to the Pitt Community College Board of Trustees for a term set to expire June 30th, 2027.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Please vote. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to commissioner comments, committee reports. I'll start with my left, Commissioner Colson,
None.
Commissioner Floyd Huggins,
No.
Commissioner White.
I want to thank Ms. Andrews. I know we had a couple of public hearings tonight, so I appreciate all your hard work to bring economic development and increase it here in Pitt County. And I also want to thank Mr. P.J. Andrews and Janice Gallagher and other county staff that's been involved in the farmers market. I've had a lot of several customers and a few vendors reach out to me with some positive comments, so appreciate all your hard work on that.
Commissioner McLaughlin,
No comment.
Commissioner Perkins Williams.
Yes, I have a comment. The Pitt County Human Resource Council, having listening session. And the next one, let me take, the purpose of the listening session is to hear the concerns and needs of the community in regard to human relations matter. Topics will include the top 3 most pressing concerns as a resident of Pitt County and 3 wishes for the Pitt County, in 2024. The next one will be held Tuesday, July the 16th at 6 o'clock p.m. through 7 p.m. Winterville Town Hall, Assembly Room, I don't know where that is, 2571 Railroad Street, Winterville, North Carolina. If you have any questions, you can call Jessica Williams in the Pitt County government, and she is listed. We hope you will attend. We hope you will provide some very important information as to what you wish, and we'll be ready. Some of us of the council will be there to receive you.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Ward,
No comment.
Commissioner
No
Hall,
questions or anything.
Commissioner Nunley.
No comments.
No comments tonight. You got something else?
I offered that we close the organization.
Well, I hadn't finished. Can I finish? I just want to take a minute and thank all of our employees, all of the staff, for all your hard work and what you do each and every day. Thank you so much. Now we'll entertain that motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay?
Second.
I don't think anybody's going to be against that.